Moved by Mr. Vijay Kumar Malhotra, and it is to be seconded by Mr. Suresh Prabhu. So now Mr. Suresh Prabhu will second the motion of thanks.
Sir, I am here to second the motion moved by. Sir, I am here to second the motion moved by a senior member of the House, Mr. Vijay Kumar Malhotra, to thank the Honorable President for delivering a speech on last Monday in which he had dwelt upon several issues that our country is facing and where the government is trying to address those issues in a various manner. Sir, Mr. Vijay Kumar Malhotra has mentioned about the length of the speech. It is undoubtedly true that a speech is long enough to cover the various achievements and the initiatives that the government has taken, but also it is really covered the wide-ranging issues, so it's really width in nature, and also is trying to address some of the deep-rooted problems of the country, so it also has a real depth in addition to the length and the width. So it's a very memorable landmark speech that the President delivered, so I'm here to second a motion to thank him for delivering that speech. Sir, if you can really characterize the speech which has been delivered, whereby I am supporting the motion thanking the President. Sir, the speech can be characterized with a vision which the President has talked about, but also matched by a mission that the government has launched to accomplish the vision. So it's a government which can claim truly having provided a stability to the country by providing a stable government as well as its ability to deliver on some of the problems that we face. So it's a speech which talks about connectivity which will ultimately lead us to prosperity. So it's a speech in which the government's ability of providing what has our constitutional framers have talked about. Our constitution is federal in nature and unitary in spirit. So this is the government which can really claim having provided unitary and a federal character to various policies that the government has followed. So it's a speech which really addresses the problems. So it's sufficiently inward-looking to address the domestic problems of the country, but also has a real outward-looking approach towards some of the international problems that the government of India has been able to address in the last few years. So just to quote the President. So the President says that no nation attains greatness without an energizing vision guiding it. So I must really admit, for the first time, we have a vision now to make India a developed nation by 2020, which the Prime Minister announced on the last Independence Day Eve, and in which the government of India is now trying to attempt taking the country to a new height of making sure that we'll become one of the developed nations by 2020. Sir, when we compare ourselves with China, this comparison becomes very inevitable, because India, so far people were feeling that India cannot attain growth because India has a large population. The countries who can grow are the countries who are small in size. The countries who have got large educational background, therefore the education was there already there. That's why now people can really develop. But sir, China has belied that. And what is China has done, sir? Today, China's GDP is almost 1.2 trillion. And by 2020, when the Prime Minister is talking about and the President has mentioned about it, of making India a developed nation, so China's GDP would be 4 times higher than what it is today. In the course of last 25 years, when China launched in 1978 a program of reform, the number of people who have benefited from that are the poorest of the people living anywhere in the world, and those people have now been brought above the poverty line. So therefore, the same vision is required which guided China to make China is going to be $5 trillion country within the next 20 years. India also should be a country of that size, and that's why the vision which the President is talking about is a vision that is really required for us. So in fact, we can really see that this plan, the 10th 5-year plan, which is a very landmark plan. I remember the first plan which was announced had a very important chapter of people's participation. Somewhere down the line, we really got disconnected from people. The plan started working, but the people were disconnected from plan. In fact, the first plan, even then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, in fact, decided to preside over Bharat Sevak Samaj. He realized that unless people participate in the development, it is not possible to develop the nation. But for the first time, this plan is people-centric, trying to take people with us, and therefore, sir, this vision of making India a superpower is going to benefit these 260 million people who are living below poverty line, and therefore, what is really required is a reform in the system, which is making sure that these 260 million people cannot even have a reasonable chance of living a decent life. And therefore, sir, this is an extremely important speech, and the President has been talking to youth, he has been talking to young children. There are in fact 21 million people in India today who are below 35 years of age. This is the target group that the President is trying to connect with. This is the type of target that President is really trying to attack, and therefore this vision is required. But sir, the vision is one thing. We need a vision, but also we need a mission to accomplish it. And sir, this government has been able to do that in the course of last 5 years. First, most important thing, that what we really lack. Sir, I was talking to a Chinese expert, China expert, living in India expert living in China. And he told me, why India is not growing as much as China is growing? And sir, his answer was, you are not even thinking about growing, so first start thinking about it, you will start growing. And therefore, the issue is really the mindset. We always believe that in India, we can never implement large-scale projects. Sir, the road project, which is a testimony to the fact that India can really accomplish it, not just accomplish it, but accomplish it with a lesser time frame than in which it was decided to accomplish the task to begin with. Sir, in the course of last 5 years, what we have been able to accomplish, or what we have just launched in 1999, but what we are going to accomplish in roads. Sir, our target has been in the last 50 years, 11.12 kilometers per year has been the national highway program that we have been able to accomplish. Sir, in the next 1999 to 2007, we will be able to construct 14,846 kilometers of road, which average to 1,650 kilometers of road per year, which really becomes every day the country is constructing 17 kilometers of road. So just imagine our attainment in the past and just see the accomplishment of what has been done in the last 5 years. So this is what is going to really make it possible that our vision becomes a reality. To add to this, there are 1.8 lakh villages which are today unconnected. So these are the villages who do not have connectivity to the road. These are the villages in which the Prime Minister's Gram Sadak Yojana is going to cover 20,000 kilometers of road with an investment of 60,000 crores. And so this is going to make sure that all the villages, and when we always talk about villages, we are absolutely right. When you are saying that we have to address the real issue, these are the real issues. People living in the villages, languishing in poverty, are the people who will really be able to come over the poverty line with this connectivity that is going to take place. Sir, the other sector, and why I am mentioning these 3-4 infrastructure sector, so we have always seen that why Indians, when they leave India, they become successful. And why the same Indian in India, they are unsuccessful? This is because of lack of infrastructure. So this is the infrastructure if you provide to the people, automatically the real intelligence that people possess, their initiative, their enterprise will come to fore and they will be able to develop. So the other sector of infrastructure is the telecom. So what was the attainment? Till 1998, we had 21.6 million fixed line telephones. By 2002 end, that is just 4 years from then, we have got 40.4 million telephones which have been added during that year, which is a growth rate of 25% per annum. Sir, cellular phones, obviously up to 1998, they were not there much. There were only 1.2 million, but now there are 11 million, the growth rate of almost 170%. So tele-density has improved from 2.33 to 4.89, and the real backbone for all the telecommunication network is the optic fiber cable, which was just 0.65 lakhs kilometer till 98 when this government took office, has been now 3.63 lakh kilometers in the course of 3.63 lakh kilometers. And sir, this is a real great growth in telecommunication, which is resulting into benefit to the consumer, because tariffs at the same time are falling, and now we can claim that tariffs in India are one of the lowest in the world. So take other sector in which we had several problems. Power sector. So this government has been able to change the gear to make sure that the real problem in the power sector is commercial viability of the sector. The state electricity boards in the course of last 10 years have lost more than 92,000 crores. So unless you correct that, every kilowatt hour of power that is supplied to the consumer, the cost of supply is 3 rupees, whereas per kilowatt hour cost of supply is 3 rupees, but average cost of tariff is 2 rupees. So more you supply, more you lose. As a result of that, the state electricity boards are losing, and that is preempting our ability to invest in future, and therefore the generating capacity is not getting added. So this government actually addressed the structural problem of making sure that the distribution end of the power sector reform, which is so crucial, is properly addressed. Sir, this is something is receiving now the world attention. Sir, I must share with you a report which one of the most reputed banks in the world has just come out. Sir, Deutsche Bank, which is, as you know, a German bank, but an international bank, one of the largest banks in the world. Its report dated 18 December 2002, titled, Will India Challenge China? Sir, the team of Deutsche Bank visited India, consisting of experts from several fields, and they addressed 7 issues that Indians themselves say why India cannot grow. We ourselves say, when they came to India, the worst critic of India were the Indians, they said that it's not possible India can grow. So they picked up all those arguments. I'm not going to read all this. And sir, finally they come to the conclusion, if at all there is one nation in the world who can effectively challenge China, that's India. And sir, if you really look at it, it is definitely doable, because sir, if you really look at it, first decade of reform, 1991 to 2002, we have been able to do much better than what China was able to do in the first decade of reform. Now it's obvious that China is getting $50 billion of FDI every year, but what we have got is definitely far in excess of what China could receive in the first decade. So therefore, sir, the government's vision, backed by mission, is also receiving world attention, and therefore I am very happy that the speech that you have proposed, a vote of thanks to the President, is the one which is going to make sure that India really become a developed nation in the course of next 20 years, 15 years. Sir, the political stability is the one I mentioned about. The other one, the stability and the ability. Sir, stability. Sir, this is the government which has been in office, though their election interrupted the tenure, for last 5 years. And sir, this stability was really badly required for India. So people are laughing to say that we really don't know, we cannot make investment in India, there is no stability for policies because there is no political stability. So this is the government which has been able to provide political stability. I don't want to say how many prime ministers were there in the earlier period, but now for the last 5 years there has been a single prime minister who has been guiding the destiny of this government. I am sure, therefore, so it's a very important contribution of this, which has resulted into dealing with some of the very crucial problems that the country faced, and that demonstrates the ability. Sir, the Northeast has been one of an area of prime concern. So we always say that there are 7 sisters, now we say 8. Sikkim has been one of the addition to that. Maybe Sikkim is a brother and the other 7 are the sisters. But sir, this Northeast is one of the very critical part of India. So this government created the Northeastern Ministry to address the problem of Northeast. And I am so very happy that Nagaland, which was facing several problems of insurgency for several years, we have been talking indefinitely, has now resulted into a concrete solution to the problem, in which almost all the underground leaders have come to fore, they have participated in the process, and that has resulted into a real solution, long-standing solution to our one of the critical part of the country, northeast of India. Sir, the ISI has been very active, and the House has been unanimous in demanding that we must take whatever strict action that is possible against the ISI, who is trying to cause disruption to our normal life. Innocent citizens are dying, and they are carrying subversive activities. So this government has been able to, I'm very happy, just read the statement made by the Deputy Prime Minister yesterday, that number of camps who have been uprooted are the highest ever in the course of last 2 years particularly, and in the last course of 5 years. So this has been a great attainment that will ensure a stability for a society, not for the government. It's a stability for society wherein we want people should live peacefully, in harmony with each other, but ISI, who has been all the time ensuring a disruption in our normal life, has been done. So third point on which I really wish to congratulate the government is for initiating a process of identification of citizens by providing them with identity card or identity number. So this is really required. This will really ensure on the long-term basis that as each and every citizen of India is having an identity, so that we'll be able to distinguish between the citizen living in India as well as those who claim citizenship without having a right to do so. And therefore, so this is an extremely important thing. And also extradition. Sir, we have always seen that some innocent people have died because of bomb blast and many other disruptive activities. I'm very happy for the first time. We always were wondering why we cannot get people from those who are responsible for this, maybe living in other parts of the world, should be able to extradite it. Sir, for the first time, in the course of last few days itself, we have been able to extradite some of the most wanted criminals, and they have been able to now they'll be facing charges in India, they'll be facing the legal system of India, and so this is an important thing, as well as the modernization of police forces, which is really required. We often complain, the members of parliament complain. Some members of parliament are at the receiving end because even the police force really do not know how to deal with the common citizen. What is really required is the modernization. But to make sure that this issue is not only talked about but acted upon, the Ministry of Home Affairs acted on this, and modernization of police force has been one of the important initiatives which will go a long way in ensuring that there will be a proper interface between the government and the people, because most of the people have an interface with the people in addition to the revenue services and others with the police forces. And sir, we should be all proud that Kashmir is now a better place than what it was a few months ago. After the elections, when people are saying that elections will never take place, the international community was all the time saying elections cannot be fair, but under, I am not saying under supervision, but many international commentators, many international representatives really watched the elections and they came to the conclusion it was the most peaceful election in which the new government has assumed office. So therefore, so this is another attainment of this. So therefore, when I said it is not just the stability, but an ability to do it. Sir, if you really look at it, the other most important part is the defense of the country. Because when we talk about internal security, it is related to our external ability to defend our borders. So there again, we have been able to do something which is very structural and important in nature. So we have created an integrated defense staff, a defense intelligence agency, and there have been various boards which have been formed to address some of the problems, to make sure that as much as transparency will be possible, and therefore even ex-servicemen are going to be really looking at it. The ex-servicemen also are being looked at as a target to make sure that their problems are solved, including providing a biggest housing scheme ever, involving investment of 18,000 crores is being launched in the last few years, and long-range surface-to-surface Agni 2 is also being done. I would request, probably the President has not talked about it, but probably it's a time that to make sure that we have our internal security as well as external border safety in mind, we must also start a service of compulsory military service for every individual in India, to make sure that people can participate in it and they will be able to contribute their own way to do this. And sir, for this is also something which I think we really need to look at. Sir, the President has talked about connectivity. Sir, he has talked about physical connectivity, electronic connectivity, knowledge connectivity, and market connectivity. Sir, I would like to add, probably there are two more connectivities that probably the President wanted to mention. He has already talked about it later. But sir, two more connectivity has been, one is an emotional connectivity of ensuring that our more than 20 million NRIs who are living all over the world, they were emotionally connected to the mainland by this government by organizing the first ever Pravasi Bharatiya Day. So this has been a great attainment. As you know, again, just talking about China again, China has been able to get most of the investment from overseas Chinese, either living in Hong Kong, living in Taiwan, or living in Southeast Asia. So if we do not connect with our people who are our origin, who have got relationship with us, which is beyond just commercial relationship, they were connected to us. And so this is something which has been done. But most importantly, sir, is I really congratulate the government. The Minister, Honorable Minister of Water Resources is just sitting in front of me, and I'm really sitting behind him, standing behind him. Sir, is a project to connect the major rivers of India. So this has been a dream of every Indian. In fact, I remember on this very house, when we were celebrating India's independence, many speakers have spoken about it. In fact, the leader of opposition also supported in saying that this idea of connecting rivers, which will ensure that floods and the droughts at the same time in different parts of the country, to create employment. We wanted to know how can we create employment. This one project can create huge employment in the country. It can increase the food production to about 450 million tons. It can ensure a huge area which can be brought into irrigation. It can create additional 30,000 megawatts of hydroelectric generation. So this is the project which will ensure a connectivity in real sense of the term, which will be able to connect one part of the country to other part of the country. It will also bring an emotional connectivity within the country, as we have been able to attain emotional connectivity with the people living overseas, with the mainland. So this is something which has been an extremely important thing. But sir, to connectivity, what have been the result on the ground? This is a concept. Sir, in the last few years, information technology has been able to generate exports of 36,500 crores. And what is the expectation? A very realistic estimation, $57 billion by 2008. How many jobs will be created? What type of brand equity it has been able to create? And so the same way has been our success in automobiles industry. Sir, you have been the Minister of Automobiles, sir, and you brought out the auto policy. Sir, automobiles has been one of the important sectors in which India can claim a truly global stature. Auto components of India are now exported worldwide. Many major companies of the world are sourcing their automobile spare parts and components from India, creating employment again. And the same way is our ability to be world leader in pharmaceuticals and biotechnology. And this is another area in which our connectivity is now resulting into a prosperity to many people, and this is something which is extremely important. And sir, as a result of that, again, with your permission, sir, what does the outside world would like to say? So this is an article which has appeared in Far Eastern Economic Review only about 2 months ago. It is written by Mr. Tom Holland. It says, reversal of fortunes. It says after 23 years of running current account deficit with the rest of the world, India now boasts a surplus of GDP growth estimated to reach 6% and putting it in an enviable economic position. This is a commentary on India's performance in the last few years by a magazine which is really reputed, concentrates on this area. So this is something which I think, sir, you really need to know. And so the other part which I was mentioning about unitary and federal in nature. So this is the government which has successfully performed an extremely important experience of ensuring that divergent political views can come together to govern the country for common good of people. So as you are all aware that these last parliament elections have produced a result which ensured that the NDA government came to power with such a large number of parties who are able to work together, though they have differences on many issues. But the most important thing, when we say the unity in diversity, is the real nature of this government, which ensured that despite our small differences, which were always kept aside, in a larger interest of the country, and has been able to successfully work on it. And so this belies the prophecy made by a very leading India commentator, Mark Tully, when he had said that India will never be able to work together. It is because of so much of divergent views and divergent interests. But sir, this government has been able to show that. It's the first coalition government at a center which has been able to run together for 5 years successfully with so many attainments to its credit. And sir, I would really wish to congratulate. And so this is another important thing, is not just working within the coalition partners, but most importantly, working with the states who are ruled by different political ideologies and parties. So I have personal experience of working with the states, in which states ruled by left front in West Bengal or Congress in many states, 14 states, they all supported the power sector reforms for a simple reason. They realized that unless you work together, you will not be able to deliver for the benefit of the common man. So this is the government which has been able to successfully work with the states, and there has not been an instance, maybe there have been some altercations, but never been an instance of confrontation with the state. So this is a very important thing. So when we talk about unitary in nature and federal in character, our constitution, this has been practiced to reality by this government in the course of last 5 years. And so therefore, I really wish to congratulate this. And sir, I would rather probably before you ask me to sit down, and I would do it on my own, I would request that this is something on issues like this, where the President has talked about several issues on which to really thank the President for his address. I think, can we not build up consensus on some of the critical issues that our country is facing? Some of the issues that the President has highlighted, can we not work together on those issues? And I think, I'm sure, to really thank the President for the service that he has rendered by coming to the House and addressing us, the best way to thank him would be to build up a consensus on some of the issues that confront us, in which people of India would be very happy to see that we work together. Thank you very much, sir.